Good evening and welcome to Newman After Dark,
a pandemic production.
We're your hosts, Emily Semino.
And I'm Nico Quesada.
Today is Thursday, October 22nd, and it's no ordinary Thursday. Today is the feast day of you-know-who?
Who?
Pope St. John Paul II. Look at him, our buddy.
What a cool guy.
Why are so many Catholics obsessed with him, Nico?
Well, not only was he the Pope, but he was a great outdoorsman, a theologian, an artist, and a playwright, and so many other things, and he really loved young people.
Wow, I want to get to know him more. Actually, a couple years ago, I read this really great book about him called His 5 Loves by Jason Everett, so check it out if you want to learn more about him.
Comment below if you have any favorite books or writings by JP2. We'd love to hear more about him. What else happened this week, Emily?
Well, Team Penn participated in a charcuterie board making contest with Team Drexel and some other focused campuses. And our challenge to you today is not, can you make a charcuterie board? It is, can you spell the word charcuterie? We took this question to our Newman offices.
Hey Lily,
Hey.
do you know how to spell charcuterie?
Oh, C-H-A-R-T-C-U
T-T-E-R-I-E? Is that totally? I don't know when I lost you, but I lost you pretty early. That is not correct. Hey Maryrose.
Yeah.
Do you know how to spell charcuterie?
No. C-H-A-R-Q-A-R-E-T-T-E.
That is not how you spell charcuterie.
Alberto, we have one question for you. Can you spell the word charcuterie? Oh, charcuterie. No. I mean, because I'm so bad. C-H-A-R-C-U-T-E-R-E-I?
You just mixed up the last two. It's I-E, but yeah.
Okay. Hello. Kate, how do you spell charcuterie?
C-H-A-R-C-U-T-E-R-I-E.
That is correct, Kate.
Whoa!
Patrick, we have one question for you.
Tell me.
Spell charcuterie.
Charcuterie. C-H-A-R-C-U-T-E-R-I-E. Charcuterie.
Wow.
Whoa!
Father Remi, please spell the word charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
Spell it.
O-O-T-U-R-Y.
Very close, but unfortunately, that is not correct.
Why?
Wow, congrats Kate and Patrick for getting that right. Congratulate them if you see them around.
What was that? Was it Ghost real?
I don't know.
Jewel!
Hey guys, it's me, your Newman Network special correspondent, Jewel Copa. So earlier today, I headed out to the suburbs to interview Deacon Gary Guy. He serves on the Exorcism team for the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, and man, it was super interesting. He shares a little talk in the beginning, and then after that, we do Q&A, where I ask him a bunch of the questions that you all submitted through the form. And he was super gracious. He answered a lot of questions for us. And so tonight in this Newman Night video, we're only going to share a teaser of the Q&A. We'll probably share like 3 of the questions that he answers. And then if you would like to view the full Q&A and hear everything that he had to say, we'll post the link in the comments to a YouTube video with the whole thing. And I really encourage you to listen to his whole talk and the Q&A. He is fascinating. You'll see he's an unassuming guy. He is not the flashiest speaker, but when he starts talking, he is sharing such important and interesting stuff. And I really encourage you to take it all in, especially in these crazy times when the spiritual battle is raging all around us. So we're so thankful to Deacon Gary for talking to us, and enjoy.
My name's Deacon Gary. I'm stationed at Our Lady of Fatima Church in Seacane,
But the reason I was asked to give this talk is because I'm on the Philadelphia Archdiocese team for exorcism and deliverance. At the present time, we have 2 exorcist priests in the Archdiocese. And we have another priest that assists. And then there is myself, I'm a permanent deacon. And we have a lady that's a layperson that has very wonderful gifts. She's a very prayerful lady, and she works very closely with me on discernment and interviewing. I'm here to talk about spiritual warfare and demonology a little bit. We won't get into too much of the logistics, and I'm certainly not here to give any scary stories or things, even though we're nearing Halloween, which is the high holy day of witches and warlocks and Satanists, even though people don't really believe in that much. The reason we're having so much problem in our world is people don't believe there is a devil or there are demons affecting our lives. And that's because the devil's greatest weapon against us is to convince us that he doesn't exist. And when he does that, we disarm ourselves, so there's nothing to worry about. Some people, when I do a baptism, and one of the prayers of baptism is about exorcism, and people, I'll look and see people rolling their eyes, and I guess they're thinking about picturing a little man in a red suit with a tail and a pitchfork and horns running around, some cartoon character. That's laughable, but it's not laughable. It's very, very dangerous, and it's very, very harmful. This ministry is not exciting. It's not enjoyable, but it's very, very necessary. I was called to this ministry because many years ago, members of my family, not my immediate family, but a lot of my family members were interested in occult things. Some of them were doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. A lot of them were. And I had my family line traced back to the Druids in Wales. And when I had no interest whatsoever in things of the occult or the devil. I just shied away from those things. But I had some involvement through charismatic renewal. We had some teaching of demons and the devil. Some of them were very good teaching, some were, but I had a slight knowledge of them through charismatic renewal over the years. When I became ordained as a deacon, it wasn't long after that the Lord called me right into this ministry. It's not something anyone in their right mind would want to aspire to. As a matter of fact, one of the portals for demonic possession and infestation is a spirit called morbid curiosity. And when we open that door to morbid curiosity and have an interest in things of the dark side and things that are not from God, we can get ourselves in very deep, very quickly. Opening a door to the occult or for a demon is very easy. It's like opening a door to an unwanted visitor in our home, but closing that door and getting that visitor to leave, that's another story. And sometimes it takes us months, sometimes it takes us years. We have a lady we're praying with right now for over 6 years. We've delivered many demons from her. The Lord has delivered many demons from her. Exorcism, I want to state this right now. Exorcism is a rite of the church that is given only to the bishops from apostolic succession. Christ gave that charge to his apostles by laying hands on them to apostolic succession. The bishops in turn give that permission or assignment to priests by laying hands on certain exorcist priests. All priests, through holy orders, have an authority over the dark side and the demons, but not to the extent of solemn rite exorcism, when a person has a deep possession. These are only priests that have that authority and that faculty given to them through the bishop. It's very dangerous for lay people to try to cast demons out of a person. And we see things on television that makes it look simple and easy, but in effect, when a lay person lays a hand on a person that's possessed and tries to cast out a demon, that gives the demon legal authority. They are very legalistic, believe it or not. Demons are very legalistic. They have that right to attack that person, and a person can become possessed themselves by doing that. So it's something we don't want to toy with or play with. My main purpose for this talk isn't so much I certainly don't want to give any glory to Satan or any of the devils. We give all our glory to God. God is the creator. All the rest of us, demons, angels, humans, we're creatures. God is the creator, and God alone has the authority, the power, and the might, and to him alone we give the glory. Why does he allow these things? Why does he allow fallen angels that have become demons in our world to attack us? Because he has them on a leash, so to speak, and what they're doing is assisting in our salvation. And they, believe it or not, know that, but they can't help themselves. While they are causing us harm, they're strengthening us and drawing us closer to God. There's always a greater good. God will only allow these things to happen to us for a greater good. He'll never go against our free will. He will never, free will is the most important to him. All his creation has free will. Angels, humans, we all have free will, and God honors that, and he will never go against it until the very end. Until the very end, when we leave this world. But even when we leave this world, I should say, we do continue in free will, that he never takes free will from us. There are certain things that people are not aware of that get them into serious trouble. And that's what I'd like to talk about today. We know what fallen angels are, we know what devils are, we know what demons are, but how do they affect us? How can we get affected by a demon? Well, in the first place, every single person in this world gets tempted by demons. They're tempting us constantly and telling us to do things that we shouldn't do, to commit sins that we shouldn't commit, to steal and harm, and to turn our anger towards others and malice towards others. But most of the time we resist these things. They're just things that we don't, we're good people, and we don't want to bring any harm or sin against God. So we resist them. But if we give in to them, if we start to give in little by little, we open the door a little more. And the opening a door is called a portal. And there are certain portals that open wide for serious problems. And the portals that open wide for serious problems are going to fortune tellers, having our fortunes read, which is an abomination before God. A demon cannot see the future. Contrary to popular belief, mediums, fortune tellers cannot see the future. They can tell people things that will happen to them next week, next month, and then they create that instance to happen. It makes it look like that they have foreseen the future. God only allows certain people, certain prophets, to see the future. That's something that he just doesn't hardly ever allow, and certainly never to a demon. So, but demons can read into our mind. They cannot read our mind, our thoughts. They cannot do that. But they can see everything that we are doing and every pattern that we have made that has been our life history. They can see into history in our life, and they can get a pretty clear picture of what faults that we have, what sins that we have, what things that they can use to bring us down. And they'll use whatever means they can to bring us down and break us, because their sole job is to destroy humanity. They know that that they are condemned. They've already been judged. They've judged themselves, and they know what their future is like. So they want to destroy humanity. The reason they fell, the reason the angels fell, was because of the incarnation. They were told of the incarnation. God wanted to become part of his humanity, of our humanity. He wanted to become one with us. And that was too much for many of them. They just could not get over that. They didn't want to be, they thought that they were elevated to a higher stature than we are, and why would God want to be a part of our creation? So Scripture tells us about a third of the angels fell. And we know that's an awful lot of angels. We don't know how many angels there are. There's a lot of things we don't know about the spiritual world. We will someday when we leave this world, but we don't know everything about it. Nobody can say they know everything. But we do know a lot. And how do we know this? We know it from Scripture. We know it from the writings of the saints, and we know it from people that have had altercations with angels, and we know it's passed down through reliable people in our church for the past 2,000 years or more. So that's how we get our knowledge. And as exorcists, and I'm not an exorcist, but as a deacon, I have holy orders, and as part of a team, I've been to many meetings with exorcists from all over the country, some all over the world, and exorcists share knowledge of things that work the best to relieve people of the suffering and that they are receiving. And believe me, the suffering is terrible. It's terrible. When a demon takes possession of a person, first of all, full possession is very, very rare. Full possession. I've never seen that. I've been doing this full-time, almost full-time for about 12 years. I've never seen full possession. I don't know anybody that has, that I know of. But to be fully possessed, the person has to fully cooperate and desire, make a pact with the devil and desire him to come in and do more and more and more. Well, first of all, when we give in to temptation, we can become infested. And infested is the first stage after temptation. Infestation is heavy temptations. Demons speaking in our ear, constantly jabbering, telling us to do things and pestering us in ways that are pretty severe. If we give in to them and we resist the sacraments, we resist God in any way, and just start to turn and open ourselves, because they do promise people good things. They come into our world telling people they're friendly and they're helpful in ways, and they'll do things for people, assist them in getting better jobs and so on and so forth. People start to fall for that, and when we do, the door opens farther and farther, and we become obsessed. An obsession is a type of possession, but it's on and off. The demon will actually take control of our bodily functions at times, our speech, they just traumatize people terribly, on and off. And we deal with many, many people that are obsessed, and it's a horrible thing. To me, I don't take any disease lightly, but that's, to me, I don't see any disease in the whole world that is traumatizing and as terrible to humanity as demonic possession. It's we see people, the things that it does to people are horrible, and it's very, very hard to get relief. That's what we try to do. Trying to steer people away from doing things that reading occult things, reading things about gaining power from outside sources other than God, turning towards false religions, they make false promises, looking for psychic powers, looking for powers which we call New Age things that are outside the universe, connecting the power within us to the power without in the universe. And we know a lot of people fall for this. This is it's very popular. We've had people that have needed deliverance from getting involved with Reiki, Tai Chi, forms of yoga, and believe me, I could spend 2 hours talking about yoga and the dangers of yoga right now, but we don't have time for that. But we don't need yoga in our lives, and but I just don't have time for that. Visiting pagan shrines, going to mediums, seances where we try to make contact with the dead and dead relatives. The only ones that we'll make contact with are demons. And when we do, there's a price to be exacted, and we don't want that price. We don't want that to happen. So we want to be on our guard at all times. And some of the other things are, besides our willingly opening to things, some demons are passed down through generational family lines. Now that's a topic for a whole nother talk, the generational family lines and intergenerational healing. But the evidence of occult activity, demonic or oppressive spirit activity, some of the evidence from this comes from superstitions and involvement in activities such as witchcraft, astrology, spiritualism, divination, magic, channeling of spirits, meditation, New Age or non-Christian religions, opening oneself to powers of the spiritual realm, such as precognition or other psychic abilities. And then we have severe trauma that can be inflicted on a family member, any one of us, trauma that affects us at a point during our lives that is not healed and not dealt with. Some of these things are, someone in our family may have drowned, died, and they're in purgatory and are in need of healing, even though that's part of their purgatory process. But that fear of water can be passed down through the generations. And we don't realize that it's a demonic, it's a demon coming down through our lines. Making a blood covenant with Satan or involved in Satan worship. That doesn't happen too often, but it's often enough. And we're seeing the results of the horror in our world and our country today because of people that are doing these things. Or being involved with a witch or other persons involved in the occult. These are things that they're all problematic things. So my purpose is to just, if nothing else, to warn people away from these things and to try to stop the attacks before they start. Now, I understand we have some questions.
Okay, everyone, so we're here at Our Lady of Fatima Parish, and Deacon Gary has agreed to answer some of your questions about demonic possession and spiritual warfare. So I have some of our questions here from the Penn and Drexel students, and we're so excited to hear from you. Thank you so much for talking to us.
It's my pleasure.
So I guess my first question, you mentioned that full possession is very rare, but that there can be infestation or obsession in people. And what does that feel like if it's happening to you, or what does that look like? How can you observe signs of that in someone else?
Well, first of all, the devil wants to hide. Like I said this before, his greatest trick is to get us, to convince us that he doesn't exist. So he hides. He doesn't want to make his presence known because he wants to stay where he is. He doesn't want to be delivered. So it takes some work to get him to show himself. But he'll enter a person, and normally infestation, he will speak through the person and cajole the person and tempt the person. When it gets to a point of obsession, we have what we call manifestation, where people lose control of their body. And that's what he does. During the exorcism or deliverance process, he tries not to do that until we force him to do it. And he has no choice. And how we force him to do it is bombard him with God's truth. Truth is the weapon that we use in an exorcism. The devil cannot stand truth. Truth is very, very painful. And Scripture and truth and invoking the Blessed Mother and the saints, the holy saints, they're just too painful for them. They can't stay around it. They live in darkness. They are complete liars. The only time a demon will ever tell the truth is when it's going to hurt somebody. To get to an obsession part, they have to keep opening doors and have to keep getting involved and inviting these demons. Full possession cannot happen without a person's complete willing it over. And a person has to cooperate with the devil to be fully possessed.
Right. And you mentioned these different kind of gateways to that, like with the occult, or seeing a psychic, or having your fortune told, or a medium, or a seance. Can it begin with something as simple as like reading your horoscope in the newspaper and putting a lot of stock in that? Like, is that kind of one of those gateway things?
It is, because God calls that an abomination. An abomination. Only He knows what the future lies. He doesn't want us to, or he has delegated through certain prophets to tell things that will happen for our good, but there has to be a good purpose to it. He will never tell that to a demon or a medium or a clairvoyant or whatever somebody wants to call themselves. They will not do that. That's one of the ways we open a door.
So I know you mentioned in your talk a little bit about yoga, and so for my yoga girls out there, I just want to inquire a little further. Like, is there yoga that's okay to do, or is there a way to participate in it that is not risky, or do you say just do Pilates and avoid the whole thing?
My advice, I'm sorry to say, is avoid the whole thing. Yoga comes from an Eastern religious philosophy, and the movements of yoga, body movements of yoga, are meant to duplicate the body forms of Hindu deities, which are evil spirits. And when we're doing these movements, we're actually calling forth these demons as guide spirits or helpers or whatever we want to call them. And we can get ourselves into danger. It's especially danger when somebody tries to tell us that we need a mantra while we're doing these things. I know people that tell me, oh, I practice yoga for years and it's helpful to me, and not everybody will get possessed or infected by doing this. But why take the chance? If we know something is not Christian and it's not helpful and it could be very harmful to us, why take the chance? Why not aerobic exercise or calling on the name of Jesus? Why take a chance with it? Yoga, Reiki, Tai Chi, other forms of what we could call energy transference. These things are not from God. They're not legitimate. They're from evil.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. So now I'm hoping you can talk a little bit about the difference between a disembodied spirit and like demonic activity. So you've spoken a lot about possession, but then there are also instances of, like, I guess what we would know as hauntings or someone might feel that there's some sort of spiritual presence in their home. So I guess first, what is sort of the difference there? Are those actually ghosts? Do Catholics believe in ghosts? And then what is the appropriate response if you think that a presence like that is in a home or a building that you are?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. That's one of my favorite things. Yes, of course there are ghosts. But we don't like to admit it. I don't like to use the word ghost, disembodied spirits. There are two types of hauntings in a home. There's an evil spirit and a disembodied spirit. Disembodied spirits are spirits that need help. For whatever reason, God is allowing them to work some of their purgatory time out in this world. They might have had a traumatic death or a time that they left this world. Whatever it might have been, they need assistance. And they're looking for assistance from people but they feel can help them. Now, we have a great amount of these. I would say 30% of our cases are disembodied spirits in homes. And they are very, people get very frightened when things happen in their home. When things move around in the home, they'll make noises, they'll walk up steps, maybe walk through walls, but a disembodied spirit will not talk to a person. They won't speak to a person. They will not touch a person. They'll not cause any harm to a person outside of scaring the bejeebies out of them in their home. But they try to get your attention so that they can get help, so that you'll pray for them. And when we find a disembodied spirit is in the home and it's asking for help, first thing I do when I go in is to recite the prayer for the dead in the Liturgy of the Hours and pray that prayer. Sometimes that takes care of the situation right then. But if not, we'll get a priest and we'll come in and we say Mass in the home. And the whole company of heaven is present during Mass. And that person will be directed where to go and welcome through our prayers and the offering of the Mass. So, and it's a wonderful feeling to know that we are helping a soul that's left this world that needs our prayers and our help, and we're assisting in that. Now, evil spirits, when an evil spirit's in a home, they're in there for different reasons. It could be cursed, the home could be cursed, which is most of the time what it is. Or a person could be cursed in a home, or a person could be possessed in a home, and the manifestations are coming more from the person than the home. But they're something else. We have to bless the home. We do what we call an extreme home blessing, with exorcised holy water and exorcised salt and blessed oil, and we have a regimen of prayer in every room to drive them out. Never, never, never use sage. Sage is an attractant to demons, and that's white witchcraft. By the way, there's no such thing as white witchcraft and black witchcraft. It's magic, and magic is magic, and magic is evil. Wicca is evil. There are no good witches and no bad witches. They're all bad. They're all perverse, and they're all from evil, and they're all being influenced by the evil one. So don't think Wicca or any of these things are disguising as helpful, natural means of gaining pleasure in our lives are good for us. They're not. They're not. And there's a price to be exacted for these things when we get into them. Please do not get near or get involved with any of these practices. Any New Age. There's nothing new about New Age. It's all demonic. Believe me.
Yikes. So this just in, Glinda the Good Witch, not as good as we thought. But I guess if I was watching this and maybe I'm somebody who I read my horoscope occasionally, or someone gave me a crystal that's now on my nightstand, or I have sage in my room, and I'm listening to your talk and thinking, I might be messing up If you are somebody like that who might be watching, who has maybe dabbled in New Age things, or there's a presence of that in their life, what would your advice be if now they feel really fearful that maybe they have stepped into something they shouldn't? Okay, guys, we left you on a little bit of a cliffhanger there. So if you want to hear the answer to that question and a bunch of other really cool questions, like I said, the link to the full Q&A and everything that he had to say is in the comments. Thanks again to Deacon Gary.
Wow, thank you so much, Deacon Gary and Jewel, for that enlightening conversation. I know I learned a lot.
I did too. If you guys want to learn more, you can watch the Q&A that's going to be posted to the St. Agatha St. James Newman Center YouTube page.
Also, next Thursday at the same time, we're going to gather for a Zoom discussion to continue conversation about this topic. So we'd love for you to join.
And while we're recovering from our ghost attack, we'd like to send it over to Molly with the Pastry Club as they review yet another pastry.
We're back with Molly's Kitchen Field Report, and today we are reviewing some apple cinnamon muffins. There's not enough apple or cinnamon, so it's just like I'm a little disappointed with the pastry shop today.
Oh, here's an apple. Here's one with an apple. Get the apple? See it? Okay.
It's still good. It's just not what I expected.
I think I like that bite worse. I'm not a huge fan of fruit in my.
This does not diminish our love for the pastry shop.
No,
at
you
all.
should
It's
still
just-
come. Just I wouldn't recommend the apple cinnamon.
Right, and they don't make this every day, so they
Look-
don't have enough practice.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That was Molly's Kitchen Field Report.
Join
Thank you,
us
Gabby.
Thursdays at 2.
Thursdays at 2.
Thanks, Molly. That's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
And remember, stay safe and wear your mask.
Gabby, so you said you wanted to get something off your chest?
Yeah, I was just feeling so sad and guilty about how harsh I was to the pastry shop, so I wanted to apologize for them. The muffin wasn't that bad. I think I was just really mean to them for no reason. I was the bad apple that day, not the muffin, so I'm sorry, pastry shop.
Molly, do you also think that your pastry shop review was harsh?
No, I thought we were just being honest. That's what you're gonna get from Molly's Kitchen. Just pure honesty. They're great in other instances, but that day, that muffin just didn't cut it.
Congrats, Kate and Patrick, for getting that right. Congratulate them if you see them around. What was that?
Are ghosts real?